Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Doodly Doo. It is your host, Matt, and technically with me is Josh. We did this video via Zoom. It is a redrawing challenge, so I picked a drawing I wasn't happy with, and I had Josh redraw it for me, and I did the same for him. What you're going to see is us reacting live on Zoom to the progress of our drawings, and I hope you guys like it.
All right, so immediately I had to did the nice perspective ruler. I was a good boy. I kept referring back to yours because I wanted to make sure I was getting certain details right.
Mm-hmm.
But I immediately decided I didn't like this one.
Oh.
So I tried again. I had a specific image in my head. I'm like, I need it to work the way I want to see it. But I spent so long on this, mostly just like messing with the little details.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you gave me some information about kind of what you saw, but in my head, I saw it as like a European kind of person.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I gave him kind of like a mixed aesthetic going on. So he's got the sword. And yeah, see how long I just mess with all the like little details.
Oh yeah.
I just keep zooming in and finding little things to mess with. Yeah, it's not necessary for me to go this far in the sketch stage.
Yes, it is.
But this is how I do. Sometimes I'll go through and I'll like thin out lines and stuff if I'm like thinking.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Zen garden.
Cut pieces away.
Yeah. Especially because sometimes it's hard for me to see the image if the lines are too thick.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I need to shave some of that away.
Definitely. I don't know. The way the way I do it is I just like I'll make a full complete sketch and then I'll just keep going over it over and over and over and over again, just on new layers, tweaking little things, but redrawing the entire thing.
Jesus. Well, now I don't feel so bad about my sketch style.
Oh, because it seems like it's like, it's like you're actually like forming what the final thing will be. I like it.
Essentially, all of it's just to make the inking process easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just tracing it. But it gives me a little leeway to like make little concessions or additions. I had to smart up and figure out how to level the ears out. I think when I start inking, you're going to see my little layer thing in the bottom right just explode with new layers. Yeah, anything with like a curvature that goes behind something else, I'm like, I just need to make two lines so I can rule it out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then I started taking some liberties with some of the design. I think I went in with green and did all the clothing.
Okay, I like that idea. I saw the video that you and you and Terry were doing.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how you do different color lines for, like the clothes and the base, which is really smart.
I mean, it just helps me because I get turned around very easily if I keep going over tiny hat. I had to keep messing with that. I'm like, no.
It's hard to get a perspective on something that's like, I've been finding it lately. It's so hard to get a perspective on something that's coming right towards you. Make it look like it should.
The other thing I was confused about was the hair bit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was hair until later on, so I just did feathers.
The Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Well, that's what he's got this like European feel, but he's also like he's gonna be like bald and stuff on the sides, like kind of like an Asian style monk. So I don't know, man.
I like it. I like how it's coming along.
I think the hand was the thing I ended up spending the most time. No, the feathers. Inking the feathers takes the longest amount of time.
You got to get all those little lines into them.
Yeah, and trust me, I did. Yeah, I was also having trouble just. I have a bad habit of like doing all the under construction, and then I just cover everything up with clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see the hat just completely intersects his face, and I'm like, why did I bother with all of that? But
I usually will start out with like a big block form if I know that I'm going to be doing a lot of clothes on top of it. Just get the size of the body parts right, and then just throw the clothes on top of it.
Yeah. And here comes
but it
the
does
background.
help the way that you're doing it. It does help because I feel like you can see where all you see where all the parts of the body like intersect, like the biceps and the forearms and whatnot.
Yeah, I guess it does help with like the fitting of the clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I spent way too much time on these background dudes. Because I had this very like, I wanted the outcome to be a little confusing, like as to who this character is.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll kind of see how that comes along later. And I did it red for the background on everything, just so I made sure that was separate.
Mm-hmm. You know that that's back there.
Yeah, and then I wasn't sure how many people I wanted to have, and then where to put them. And then I get we're not there yet, but when I start actually working on the background, I get to actually flex a little Photoshop-esque skills.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for that, but it also is going to be the most boring thing to watch.
I don't think it will be.
Well, I had to make it a 20 times speed drawing, so I spent roughly 10 hours on this.
Hoo-wee.
Yeah. But I think it looks pretty good in the end, so it's well worth it.
It's coming along. I really like the my mind is blanking on the word composition, maybe, like how it's all laid out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's instead of, I wanted the viewer to be kind of like part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're seeing everything, like this is happening towards you essentially.
Right, exactly.
And I fell in love with this brush, the Dirty Dan.
Dirty Dan.
It just gave it a grittier feeling, but when you zoom out, like it's still clean.
Right. Look close and it's kind of rough, but
yeah. Plus it helped me with like the eyebrows, how they're like individualized and they're I don't know. Certain textures of brushes help me ink certain material, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. I really like the way that looks, especially on the feathers. It might be because you're not using as much pressure, but it really breaks up the line, makes it look, because that's the kind of style that I like, is that kind of sketchy look.
I thought you might appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I do. A lot, actually. It looks so good.
I actually had a lot of fun doing the feathers. I'm like, just a couple like cuts in the line, and all of a sudden it looks like an actual feather.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing how something so complex you can make it relatively simple, but it still looks, good.
I think that's the thing that like is hard to figure out when you're starting art, is you see when you're trying to break down something from real life, you're like, man, there's all this like complexity to it. There's no way I'm gonna be able to do that. And then like you find a way to simplify it a little bit and still make it complicated. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
Occasionally,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, occasionally you'll see me like, it'll just stay still for a minute. I get getting interrupted. Of course, when you're doing something for 10 hours, it's hard not to.
Yeah, I think with Procreate, luckily, I think it only records when you're brush stroking.
Oh,
So and that's why I think the videos end up so short, is because there's not all that pause time. Um,
that's kind of nicer, honestly.
yeah, well, kind of nice, but then if I go to try to explain it, I've got like a minute to explain it. Your video's nice, and like you get to see like all like the little bits of detail that you're working on. Mine moves so fast that it's kind of annoying.
I do like the OBS will let me. It like follows the zoom in and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Unless I'm screen recording, it is just a stationary photo. So sometimes you don't even see and I usually do I did the redraw that I did on a larger scale, but usually I just do mine on a square.
Mm.
So it's hard to see lots of the details. Like with those feathers, we probably wouldn't have been able to see them if they were being drawn on mine.
Well, hopefully we'll see it in the end image. Yeah, I just went to town on like the hashing for a minute, because that brush really just inspired me to do it that way.
Yeah, it looks really good.
That's another thing I struggle with, is like, how much detail should I put into something if no one's gonna see it?
Yeah. Oh, I know what you mean.
At this point, it's for me.
Right, exactly. And I mean, honestly, I think that it helps you, even if they're not seeing it, it's still you practicing that certain area. So it is beneficial, I think.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I was definitely feeling it. I'm like doing these hands. I'm like, no one's going to look at these hands. But I'm like, no, I gotta make them half decent.
I hate hands so much.
Everyone does. Yet I made it like the prominent piece of my drawing.
It looks good. It looks better than what I could probably do.
No, you can do that.
Well, and maybe it might take me a couple hours. Anybody could do it, get it to a certain point, but I don't know, man. It's too much of a struggle for me. I hate the hands.
Just hide them.
Yeah, usually. Throw them in a pocket, throw them behind something. I usually try to make people hold something, and that's just as difficult, trying to show fingers wrapping around something.
Yeah, because then you have to show like the volume of the object.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, here's the Photoshop skills.
There it is.
I'm like, there's no way I'm drawing all these rocks. But I made sure they were like all different like form of rocks, so they didn't just blend into each other.
Right. Yeah, you could tell the difference in the buildings.
And then I go a little extra when I actually get everything put together. You'll see it here. Yep, I start adding like shading on the rocks.
Yeah.
To give it like a sense of volume. This is what I meant by this is probably the most boring part of the video.
It's really cool though, because it's they're all popping, just making them all pop.
Oh, it gets better. Because this is just the initial shading pass, and then I go a little bit beyond. Honestly, the background is the reason it took 10 hours. If I'm being completely honest. Well, I figured, in something where we didn't have a time limit, which felt really nice, I might as well make it worth my time. And you can see I'm chunking out some of the rock to make it, because, they didn't have perfect masonry and stuff back then, so I started giving it texture. And I normally don't go heavy on the backgrounds, so I really wanted to try that with this piece.
Yeah, backgrounds is something I usually never do.
I want to get better at it, so I'm like, well, worst case scenario, I hate everything I do and I just revert back and leave it like blocked off.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, just lots of rock stuff going on.
I'm glad that you did a background and like, you know, detailed background in yours, because that's something I try to do in mine too, since it's something I normally don't. I tried to focus on a background as well.
Same as you. Nice.
Great
And
minds.
we I didn't say anything about it, but I was messing with like a color curve, because I saw some other artists do that, and I'm like, I should see how that works. So I gave everything like a kind of like a sepia tone to make it more saturated.
Mm-hmm.
And then it really made like the green and gray difference on the rock pop out.
Yeah, it really does. I see it for sure.
I was so happy with how that turned out.
It kind of brings it all to like that uniform. Well, they go together basically. They went together before, but with the color in it, it's really nice.
And then I stopped for some reason.
Coffee break.
I think this was when there was like a thunderstorm happening, and my dad wanted me to go see if it was a funnel cloud.
Oh.
It wasn't. Spoiler alert.
So imagining something out of Twister.
I mean, we are in the Midwest, so like that's a very Midwest thing to do. Just go look outside and make sure there's not tornadoes.
I remember when we were kids, we would always be so excited when the tornado sirens are going off, not really realizing the possible danger. Not that anything ever came from it, but it's like, oh, I want to go see it. No, get in the basement.
Ignore all the tornado siren drills.
We haven't practiced for this in school for years.
Yeah, and anymore when like you get a job, this is like, here's a pamphlet, figure it out.
I don't think I've ever done any sort of tornado drill as an adult.
No. Nope.
Just like, we'll figure it out when it happens.
Just run away from the tornado.
You can outrun a tornado.
For real though, my ass will be getting in a car. Bye everyone.
Can a car outrun a tornado? How fast do tornadoes go?
Upwards of 35 to 50 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, I could definitely outrun a tornado in a car.
Oh yeah, I'm just adding a little rustic feel to these.
I like it, the texture on it.
I think we're finally gonna. Nope. I think your guy is the last thing to get colored. That's one thing I wanted to keep like semi-saturated tones for all of their clothing to like show that they're like more common people. And I was trying to think of like what colors they might have had available to them. It's a completely fictional world. I could have done anything, but I didn't. So,
well, grounded in reality a little bit.
now I did almost all of his colors, and then I wasn't happy with it, so then I changed them. Spoiler alert. So none of this is gonna stay.
Are you blocking this out for a masking layer?
Nope, I was going straight into color. Yeah, that would have been a good idea, huh?
Well, I do it sometimes, and then sometimes I just don't. Sometimes I like to streamline my process, and sometimes I like to just make it take forever.
Well, you gotta extend it if you're having fun. Yeah, so at some point I like zoom out and I'm like, I don't like this.
What was it? Was it too dark or?
Just the colors. I'm like, no, this had a very different feel in my mind. So, yeah.
Ooh, I like those feathers. Are you gonna change the color of the feathers?
No, but
Okay.
I'm gonna make something. I'm gonna make them even prettier. Yeah. So now I'm like, nah. I wanted to make them flashier.
Right.
Plus, I kind of I wanted to. Here's the spoiler I didn't want to give out. I wanted to make him feel a little bit more ominous.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't know if he's friend or foe.
Right.
Like he's reaching his hand out, so it seems like he might have saved the person that he's reacting to. But like, I don't know. Like he seems a little off.
He did just murder 3 people in the street.
Oh yeah, and I'll add some details on that later. For now, I had to get all the creases.
It's given me kind of not necessarily the costuming or anything, but did you watch the Witcher series on Netflix?
Yeah, I did.
It's kind of given me the vibes of when he fought those people in the street. When he became the butcher of Blavkin.
Yeah. That was a dope scene, man.
Yeah, it really was.
Super impractical, but man. So
Well,
cool.
you know, it's Geralt of Rivia. He can do whatever.
He sure can. Henry Cavill, if you hear this, you can do whatever. Yeah, just a lot of shading. But
I like it. That's something I don't do as much of as I'd like to.
I mean, it really depends on the style you're going for. Oh, I had to find. There's that little skin patch that was on a different layer. I hate when I do that.
Where is this? Where does this originate?
No, I have a lot of fun with shading because it's one of those things like you zoom in and you get really detailed on, and then you pull back and then you see the effect it had.
Mm-hmm.
It
It actually does something.
Yeah, I gave him like stubble on his head. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. I was just zooming in at different points. Oh yeah, there we are. I created a shadow masking layer. Then I went through and just started erasing some of it to make rim lighting and highlight.
Shoot. I'm going to use that trick. I've never done that.
Oh, it's so cool.
You just go over it all with a dart or with a gray and then erase it?
Yeah, so I have that set at like 35% opacity, and then I go through and I erase everything I don't want to see.
Wow, nice.
So it just immediately gives it highlights instead of going through and picking individual highlight tones.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of just set where the sun's hitting. And I love how these feathers turned out.
Yeah, they look really good.
It doesn't seem as tedious when you speed it up.
No, I know. Believe me.
I gave him glowy red eyes, making him even more ominous. Oh, more shading. I wasn't done, apparently. I mean, it kind of makes sense because it's like it's kind of like afternoonish.
Mm-hmm.
So like at certain angles there would be like contrasting, like heavily contrasted lighting. Oh yeah, here we go.
There it is. I saw it.
some viscera effect.
I am all for it.
Yeah, I had fun with this.
I like the brushes you're using too.
I was just picking things out because I got that brush pack forever ago, and I'm still trying to figure out what each one kind of looks like.
Right.
So I got to have a play around with some of those.
Ooh. Touch my bloody glove.
Oh, and that's it. Oh wait, no.
Ah,
Yep, courtesy of Josh Simpson.
yeah, that's really nice.
I was so happy with how that turned out.
It looked really, really good. I really liked the feathers
So
and just the whole composition of it.
would you say that was part of the image you had when you made the original image?
Yes, he was definitely a warrior. But I think that you definitely gave it a story. That's the one I have the most problem with. I'll draw a character, and then there will be no story to it. So you definitely created an environment, which I really like. It definitely added to it, made it really nice. And I like. I'm still pretty stoked about the feathers. The feathers were legit.
It was probably my favorite part.
You can. All right. So
Oh.
I don't. Yeah. So I don't have a photo reference on my screen. Maybe I can give you one and we'll insert it somewhere of your original. But your original is a guy standing with a dragon flying up behind him and a conveyor belt, and you had a couple of like cylinders, and you messed up one of the lines on them, you said, and that kind of just made you stop the whole thing. So yeah. I went ahead and took some liberties with the guy and the dragon's positioning, because you said that they were in a industrial workspace, correct?
Yeah.
Factory. So I went ahead and
oh, I like this already.
yeah, I was thinking like they'd be like on break or something, because they weren't necessarily working in the picture. So I kind of took some liberties and gave the dragon a rest from flying in the photo and put him on the conveyor belt, just chilling. And then this other guy is, hanging out on the other side. Now, like I said, it goes so fast that I can't really give you a walkthrough of what I'm doing. I was pretty happy, I think, with the positioning of these two at this point. So I was kind of trying to get an idea for the background a little more.
I do like you also brought the horizon line much more forward, giving it a more dynamic look.
Yeah, I don't know that I was thinking about that at all.
Well, you did it subconsciously.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your good artist brain going.
Oh, geez, Louise. Yeah, I really wanted to work on the background a lot. Because I wanted to make it a full piece for you, and it's something that I usually don't do. So I was really trying to get into details, here and there. Because the original, I put some posters on this wall over here. I've got them leaning up against. Wanted to kind of make it look more like a place, and then I decided that it didn't really look like, didn't really look like it was necessarily a break time. They were kind of just standing around. So I also put a poster on the wall that, was saying mealtime, blah, 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 kind of inferring. But then this is what I was talking about. I just keep going over on another, right on another layer, and I'll go in as, just add detail to it.
Oh my goodness. I do like this dragon a lot.
I was very happy with the dragon. Very, very happy how it turned out, actually. Couldn't quite get I couldn't quite figure out how the wings would actually sit on a dragon if he was chilling like that. So.
It's a mythical creature. I mean, what are you going to do?
Right.
It works however you want it to work.
That is the joy of being an artist, I suppose.
Yeah, I really like this.
So I had him end up kind of smoking a cigarette, but I think I ended up taking that out at the end because I just didn't particularly care for it. I think I changed the positioning of his arms or something like that. We'll find out here shortly.
Yeah, we've had these done for a minute. It's just taking us a little bit of time to get connected to do this reaction.
Yeah, thanks COVID. And my car.
I'm really liking.
But yeah, I'm just going in trying to do more detail on the guy. Like I said, I was pretty happy with the positioning and everything, so it really just keep going over and over and over it, changing things a little bit by little bit. You'll see kind of like
switch the arms around.
Yeah, switch the arms and kind of just
changed
changed
his.
his.
Up now.
Yeah, this is what happens in my process because I'm just going over it and over again. Things get bigger and things get bigger and smaller. And
I
started doing a little bit of color. But then again, I went back to him. I think he might actually be what I spent the most time on because I just kept looking closely and finding things that they were just off a little bit. And I tried to fix them, and then something else would just be a little bit off. You see, now the whole he's still there. I want to have him kind of leaning up against the wall, but I didn't think that he necessarily looked like he was leaning that much. He's kind of just standing there, more in like a.
Oh, you made him grumpier.
It might change.
Oh, and then you squared him up now.
Yeah, see, it everything just forms, and I really wasn't happy with how that face was turning out.
I edit our videos, so I kind of see your process a little bit, but I've never seen it broken down like this.
Oh, and I guess I did just change the entire thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just after all that, just got rid of it.
You started over on this guy 6 times.
Yeah.
I love it though. I mean,
I guess I did go with a cigar in his hand.
Oh, you're getting the whole stogie.
I kind of gave him more of that.
Yeah.
Gave him the bandana and thought it made him look a little more old timey.
Yeah. When I gave you the picture, I told you I had that Industrial Revolution steampunk idea that I wanted, and I think you so far have done so much better with that than I did.
Well, it's I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I was trying to go for it. I always feel like when I'm trying to go for something, I end up making it different than what it should be. But we'll see. I feel like I haven't. I guess I was very happy with the background because I haven't done anything on that in a while. And here I start coloring. And it's going to go very, very quickly.
That's something I need to do is do the masking.
Yeah, you'll see because I think I could just paint right on. Well, no, you can't see, but I can just paint right onto that gray space, and it doesn't go onto any of the background or anything like that, which is pretty nice. But then I wanted to really texture it up. I wanted some smoke and some light in there. It really add to the environment.
Oh yeah.
Kind of make it look more like a factory with some things going on.
This is some flashing colors.
Yeah, I know. It's so fast, dude. So fast. Got
oh, I love that orange glow.
Yeah, I wanted to make it kind of fiery in there.
Again, not clear what they're making, but
no, they're just somewhere. They're somewhere with a conveyor belt. Obviously, something is being made somewhere. I think I just went over that a little bit. And that is the final piece.
Oh my gosh, dude, I love it.
That's it. Yeah, I was pretty happy with how it turned out. Of course, looking at it now, of course, there's a million things I would change, but overall, I'm pretty happy with it. With that lighting on the dragon there, I wanted to have more intense light in there, but I just thought it looked a little funky.
Yeah, I mean,
I was actually really happy with this door and how it turned out.
Oh,
I don't really do mechanical pieces at all.
You and me both.
But yeah. Overall, that's what it is.
This turned out so great. I'm so happy. And You actually took the time to do like the stone by hand. I cheated.
Yeah, there's something about I don't really. It might be easier to do on Photoshop, but I'm not really a fan of pulling things in and putting them on, just because I don't really have the correct kind of like lasso tools or anything for that. I have to literally go around everything by hand if I want to cut something out or put something in, and I don't like doing it.
Yeah, I
But
get it.
but I do like the way it less uniform and whatnot. I think I had them darker at one point, and I wanted to fade them out because I didn't really want those to be a focus. But I do like that you can see them and whatnot. I was pretty happy with it.
I'm so enthused. This is a million times better than what I gave you to work with.
Well, it seemed like you stopped pretty early in that process. I would have been interested to see what it went on to. I'm gonna give you the paper back so you can finish it.
Well, I like yours better anyway, so throw that up in our Dropbox, and I will make that my background for my laptop.
Hey, alrighty, let's do it. So that is that.
All right, everybody. Bye.